with that perspective. We leave it there. Meanwhile, Canada is seeing a record turnout as early voting for the federal elections set for the 28th of April have reached new heights. Election Canada reports that 7.3 million Canadians have already cast their ballots, marking a 25% increase compared to 2021 elections. Additionally, mail-in voting has reached a record high with 7,54,000 special ballots returned, up from 660,000 in 2021. Recent data from the CBC poll tracker shows the Liberal Party, led by Prime Minister Mark Carney, holding a 5-point lead over the Conservatives, led by Pierre Poilievre. Carney's Liberals are at 42.7% support, while Poilievre's Conservatives stand at 38.3%. The NDP, led by Jagmeet Singh, is currently at 8.4%. As election day draws near, federal leaders are campaigning across the country. Liberal leader Mark Carney will hold a media availability in Port Moody, followed by a rally in Winnipeg. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh will make an announcement in Winnipeg before heading to Toronto for a campaign event. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre will hold a press conference in Halifax and later a rally in Saskatoon. Okay, all right. So those are the predictions as far as the 2025 Canadian elections are concerned. Liberal Party of Canada at 42%, Conservative Party of Canada at 41%. So it's a neck-and-neck battle that is being predicted by Main Street Research. New Democrat Party at 6%, Bloc Québécois at 6%, and others at 5%. These are the numbers that are coming in. Nanos Research claims Liberal Party of Canada will be at 44%, Conservative Party of Canada at 39%, New Democrat Party at 8%, the BQ, at 5%, and others at 4%. All right, let me take these numbers and some information forward with Mr. Andrew Latham, Professor of International Relations at Macalester College and Senior Fellow, joining me from Ottawa, Canada. Mr. Latham, thank you so much for speaking with NewsX World. I want to, of course, begin by asking you your understanding and assessment of what could possibly happen in Canada on the 28th of April.
Well, I think you characterized it correctly when you said it was neck and neck at this point. About 3 months ago, the Conservative Party in Canada had a 20-point lead. But once Justin Trudeau resigned and Prime Minister Mark Carney ascended to that office, that changed because Justin Trudeau and his government became incredibly unpopular. There are a couple of big developments that are taking place. The New Democratic Party, which is the Social Democratic Party in Canada, is on the verge of being destroyed and being eliminated as a parliamentary party. The Bloc Québécois is running as a very kind of Canadian nationalist party, which is unusual, but that has to do with President Trump and his 51st state nonsense. So it's really coming down to this. Pierre Poilievre's Conservative Party versus Mark Carney's Liberal Party. And it's really, as you pointed out in your comments, it's coming down to some regional dynamics. British Columbia on the west coast of Canada has been, in some ways, an NDP, New Democratic Party, stronghold for a long time. But it's up for grabs now. The two places that I grew up in, Toronto, a suburb of Toronto called Brampton, in which now I would be a visible minority because it's South Asian, Pakistani, and Indian majority in that part of the world. It remains to be seen how that is going to shake out. Is that going to be liberal or progressive conservative? And then, as you mentioned, Winnipeg, where I spent 5 years as a graduate student, is also kind of up for grabs. So it's not a foregone conclusion. And when you characterized it as neck and neck, I think that's exactly the way it's shaking out. Liberals, that Liberal Party versus the Conservative Party, and the NDP and the Bloc Québécois and the Green Party are just inconsequential.
Mr. Latham, I also want to understand from you what really has changed in the past few months, as you've also pointed out that the Conservatives did have a lead, a 20-point lead over the Liberal Party. But what really has changed? Was the resignation of Justin Trudeau so significant for the Liberal Party?
I think that was the most consequential development over the last several months, is that he, as the leader of that Liberal Party, was so unpopular. And when he went away, and Mark Carney, whom Canadians would know as the governor of the Bank of Canada and Brits would know as the governor of the Bank of England, stepped in, and he just seemed more competent, maybe more capable of pushing back against President Trump. I have to say this, though, that as the governor of the Bank of England, he was very unpopular in Great Britain. He mismanaged this, the economic crisis back then. But Justin Trudeau going away made all the difference. And I think that was the most consequential thing. I don't really think there's anything else that's happened in Canada other than this. Again, Jasmeet Singh, the head of the New Democratic Party, is just not popular. There's very little and decreasing support for both him and his party. And then the Green Party in Canada has become increasingly unpopular as well, especially in places like the province of Alberta, which it generates wealth on the basis of its oil and gas industry. And the Green Party and the Liberal Party are both opposed to, because they're committed to the green agenda, they're both opposed to that industry. And so Danielle Smith, the Premier, the Prime Minister of that particular province, has been making the case that those two parties are anti-Alberta. So maybe people across the world will understand that Quebec has a separatist movement based on ethnicity. But now there's a Western separatism in Alberta and Saskatchewan that says we don't really want to be part of Canada anymore because they're so opposed to not our ethnicity, but are opposed to our economic sort of foundations.
Right. Professor Latham, thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast on NewsX World. Well, that's all that we have.